Oh hey, I didn't see you gamers walk in there. Welcome back to Your World Gaming. What the fuck is this doing here? Who in their right mind would use a case of water as the centerpiece of their videos? Good lord. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Your World Gaming News. Great news, great news. Let me give you a moment to take it all in. If you haven't already taken a moment to take it all in, well, I just did that whole charade of a situation. Jacobs Creek from Australia. Normally drink California, but due to the current circumstances and the tariffs on Canada, come on USA, we love you. Shouldn't we all be friends? Give me my wine back, my California Moscato. And of course, the German dab. Gotta do a dab and take a drink of the dab. Ja, das ist gut. Das ist sehr gut. And well, that's pretty much that. So it's been a little while, and I think that's a bit of an understatement. I'm trying to think of the last time I did a Your World Gaming News. It's got to be at least 2.5 years, probably closer to 3, right? Probably closer to 3 years. Well, the good news is we've been picked up by Netflix. 6 episodes. After that, it'll depend whether the ratings are good or not. So, yeah, for those of you who have Netflix, you can also watch on Netflix. And if you don't have Netflix, you can watch it here on good old YouTube. Oh, what's happening, YouTube? Well, a lot has been happening. What should I talk about? Where should I start? I told myself I didn't want to take this overly serious. As I've gotten older and as I've been on the platform longer, I do have a higher standard for what I want to put out. You can't help but look back and reflect upon some of your early videos and maybe a year after, 2 years after, 3 years after, and you take a look at the progress. And well, truth be told, I've always wanted to make great progress in many different areas in what I do when it comes to creating content. With gaming, not so much. I don't care. I can film with a cell phone at my TV and it doesn't bother me in the least. Actually, I prefer the authenticity it has when seeing it on speedruns.com. Speaking of speedruns.com, have you seen the world records? Have you seen the podium finishes? The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Alpha Nerd Entertainment, love me or hate me, and I really don't think there's any in between, is there? Let's be honest, those who understand me know that I joke and kid around and have fun. And they think I'm a fun, loving, likable guy. Those who find me irritating and obnoxious, well, I couldn't agree with you more. You're both right. And those who sit in between, I'm a little worried about those ones. Make up your mind, goddammit. Stop riding the fence. Am I an asshole or am I a cool guy? Well, I'm kind of like Anakin Skywalker. I'm a mixture of both. The dark side and light side pulls to me, and the alcohol hits me, and so does the weed. But with that being said, we got some big things going on in this episode of Your World Gaming News. What are we going to be talking about? We are going to be talking about a visit to A&C Games in Toronto, Ontario. Essentially the biggest game store in Ontario. There was one bigger and better in Hamilton, but it went under after COVID, sadly. They still exist, but in a much smaller form, under the name 1UP Games. When they were at their peak, they were super 1UP Games downtown, and we're the best game store I've ever seen. And A&C is great, but it wasn't as good as this. But it's in the past now and doesn't exist. You know, that whole hurt of COVID and, well, sometimes the downtown core of Hamilton can play a damper on your business. And, well, high rent, it closed. But I went and visited A&C Games, so we'll check that out shortly. We're also going to be taking a look at our good buddy, Omega Ace Gaming. What is super interesting about this particular story is when I originally did Your World Gaming News, I had some conversations with Omega Ace, as he was one of the very earliest people I got to know on the platform. And we spoke about a game called Chakan the Forever Man, and I labeled it Unbeatable. You know, I got to the end once, never beat it, didn't understand how to beat the end boss. Well, Omega Ace took it upon himself to become the first person in the community to stop hiding, stop ducking, stop running in fear. Other people be like, oh, it's not really my cup of tea, or I'm not really interested. Bullshit. You're not interested in some cool immortal demon who fights in like a dark, dank, crazy, universal, out in space world with monsters and demons. Sure, it plays kind of like shit and looks pretty good. But all in all, the game has always had a very cool, very dark, very appealing aesthetic. It always appealed to me, and I guess it appealed to Ace. So we'll be checking that out as well and more. We will also be checking out some recent pickups. I'm not going to be talking about all the pickups I've had since I last did this show about 3 years ago. That'd be ridiculous. I'd be pulling about 80 games off my shelf. We'll talk about some more recent ones and why they're cool. I have, in another part, some recommendations for y'all as far as indie goes and retro goes. And with all that being said, let's just dive into it and take a look at our first story where I check out A&C Games. Wait, before we check out A&C Games, there is one more thing important. One thing I must talk about first, which might be important to some of you. Odds are most of you won't be interested. And with that being said, don't take part, cool beans. You do take part, cooler beans. But if you don't, it's less editing for me. But if you do, it makes it more of an actual race and just more of a participation to our otherwise dying but cool community. And let's talk about my upcoming retro challenges. We're going to pull up some stuff here. I'm going to waste no time. I'm starting with the coolest game I selected and the game I care about most personally in doing the best. I have a couple of games, but this one, don't see enough people playing it, don't see enough people diving into it, don't see enough people trying to kick its ass. I've only beat it about 5 times. 6 max, maybe as little as 4. So I don't have a ton of experience, but I like it a lot. Metal Slug. By whatever. What? Neo Geo? I don't know, I can't remember. Doesn't really matter. S&K, one of the two. Anyways, this game rocks. What we're going to attempt to do is a no death run. We're going to attempt to do a no death run on difficulty 1. I'm not sending you out to the wolves. I'm going to try to make this as easy for myself and everybody as possible. Metal Slug is obviously known to be an incredibly difficult quarter pumping game, where meaning you have to spend tons of money just to beat it. Its game's base dip switch setting is 4. So if you ever use a ROM, it'll automatically be set to 4 difficulty, which is normal. It has 8 scales of difficulty, 1 to 8. Now, you can pick it up on PlayStation, on Xbox, on Switch. I have it physical on PS2. I have it on my PS5 under, Arcade Archives, Metal Slug 1. And I also have it on my Sega Mini as the ROM emulation, where I can adjust the dip switch. I can adjust the difficulty all 3 same ways in these particular versions, which is 1 to 8. Difficulty 1, there are versions that have been released that only say easy, normal, and hard. This will be easy. But from what I've read, any version that only shows easy, normal, and hard, it's easy as 1, it's normal as 4, it's hard as 8. So regardless, you'll be on an even playing field with the people who change it to difficulty 1. Get as far as you can in Metal Slug 1 without dying. I can't put it any more simple than that. Let me repeat it. Get as far as you can in Metal Slug 1, the OG classic, the run and gun banger that not enough of you play. Put it to difficulty 1. It's the only way we really have a fucking fighting chance. Maybe difficulty 2, but I want to make it as easy as possible for us because it's still going to be brutal. I did some minor testing. The first couple stages, for those who are good and those who take the time to try their hardest, will find that levels 1 to 3 are pretty easy for the most part. There's a couple of spots where they can catch you, otherwise it's a breeze, a legit breeze. Come level 4, the difficulty increases quite a bit, and it becomes a lot more challenging, but not that much more challenging, but still quite a bit. It's in levels 5 and 6 where you're still like, oh my god, on difficulty 1 it's this hard? It's gonna be rough. I haven't really done that much testing, but I do know that levels 5 and 6 are still brutal. They're still brutal, but it's doable. Who's gonna do it? I don't know. Give your best, give it a try. If you die in halfway through the first level, it don't matter. Take part for fun, take part to be hardcore, do what you want. But, you know, will somebody know death run this? I don't know. But how far will you get? That's the engaging challenge of this one with Metal Slug. Game number 2, we're keeping it very similar. Very similar. Another run and gun. An NES game, a classic, a banger, a popular title, Super C. Super C, Contra, you know, Contra 2 on NES, Super C. It's badass. I do like it better than the original. I think its top-down stages are definitely superior than the running into the screen levels. Dossie is good. And then the running into the screen levels. I think the game as a whole plays a little bit more smooth, generally easier, but I do think a slightly harder no death run. But I can't say. I've done the first, I haven't done this one. It could be an excuse for me to end DR, but what is your goal? Speed run Super C on NES. Beat Super C as fast as you can. Do your absolute best. You want to use Contra codes? Go right ahead. It's never going to give you an advantage over somebody who's absolutely shredding it in the field. Because if you lose your weapon, and you fall and die, you're losing time to some of the great runners that will probably participate who don't need the Contra code. But if you need it, go nuts. Go nuts. Pump her in, use it, get through, have fun, and do your best to power through. The thing with these games is that no matter what, when you die, you might think that's an advantage that someone has unlimited lives over someone who's like, I'm not going to use it. Losing your weapon is crucial in Contra games. For speed, in my personal opinion. You can always rebound and recover and catch back up. Absolutely. But you want to keep those weapons and just mow down everything you can in its path. I don't know how I'm going to do. Truth be told, I'm going to have a lot of derusting. A lot of derusting. It's going to be a little bit rough, I won't lie. I haven't played the game in about 2.5, 3 years. I've done like 5 or 6 one deaths of this game. And I got busy, moved on, wasn't an NDR that joined my playlist of over 100. Shout out to me and my 100 plus no death runs. Rah, and all my world records. I'm so great. This is your World Gaming News. How about that? How fun's that? How about when you can be smug? You actually have a mustache you can curl. It's very fitting, isn't it? Anyways, this show's ridiculous. Is it back? Oh, I'm thinking I'm back. I guess. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And anyways, we're going to move on to chapter number 3, the third game. So let's break it down real quick. Metal Slug. Difficulty 1, no death run attempt. Game number 2, Super C, speed run. As fast as you can, use the Contra code if you need it. Game number 3, a game that I hold very near and dear to me. A game I grew up with on Game Gear. Play it on Game Gear if you want, but it's cropped. So I suggest using Master System. If you don't own it, just use emulation with this one. So it's probably a game unlikely you own. You might find yourself reason to buy it if you're a collector of the Master System. Desert Speed Trap starring Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Fantastic actual game. I do have the world record, but I'm alone on the leaderboard and I want some company. I like this game a lot, and that's an understatement. Not only do I like Looney Tunes, let's be real, I think you probably like Looney Tunes. If you don't like Looney Tunes, I don't even know if I want you watching my channel, unless you aren't unfamiliar with them. If you're like, what are Looney Tunes? Then I'd be like, okay, you just grew up not knowing Looney Tunes. But if you grew up and they were on TV and you didn't watch them, you're a suspect character in my opinion. Anyways, Roadrunner wasn't even the coolest of the Looney Tunes, but I love all Looney Tunes. And this game is dope. It is. Now, I do have some advice for it, because I don't want to throw you guys to the wolves, because the game does have some tough experiences at first as a blind runner, and most of you will be blind. So again, speed run. Beat the game on normal. That's it. It's its base setting, you turn it on, it'll be on normal. Now, the difficulty between easy, normal, and hard doesn't change. It's all the same difficulty. Easy has 2 less levels than normal, and hard has 2 more levels than normal. We're just going to stick with normal. speedrun it as fast as you can. So here are some of my quick advices. In this game, just like the antics that happen in the show, there's something always blowing up and taking damage, just like in the cartoons. Well, here you have birdseed piles. They're food for roadrunners. When you take hits, they give your health points back. Here is the fun conundrum of the game, or its actual annoyance. As you play the game and encounter these, small piles, which appear one size, that I'll show, are a mystery. Every single one's a mystery unless you can memorize them. If you memorize them, they never change. Some will be checkpoints, so when you die, you respawn there. You can memorize that, it never changes. Some of them will be 1 health point of healing. Other ones will hurt you. Some will hurt you a lot. It's a gamble, but the game intends for you to learn them, all right? Or to not gamble. Now, big piles are always safe. Big piles are 3 hit points of health. They're always 100% safe. You tap down and peck it like a bird and eat them. Same with the small piles. So all I can say is with the small piles, eat at your own risk or be prepared to memorize them for checkpoints or health. Otherwise, you'll be taking damage and getting pissed off. So either pass them up or learn them. That's your choice. But big piles, always safe. Important tip of this game number 2, the checkpoint. Very linear and classic to all retro games, run from left to right. But here's the kicker in this particular game. It has a fair amount of vertical platforming, meaning that there will be times where you can't just go left, you might run into a big wall in a canyon, like in the cartoons. Then you might have to run up a hill this way and run back a hill that way. No matter what, in this game, the exit is always in the top. I'm trying to think, for me, looking at the camera, it's in the top right. For you, it might be in the top right. Probably in the top right for you too. So there you go, it's in the top right, always. Never down below. Like Sonic, when you pass the flag post, it's always on the bottom right. Mario, the flagpole, Super Mario World, that's always on the bottom right, or center even. You know, pretty much all games. Contra, you run to the end, you just run across the bottom right. Almost all games, you run across the bottom right. Think about it for a moment. Roadrunner changed it. They put it up top. It's top right. Because he always has to kind of get somewhere up and away from the coyote who's trying to eat him. There'll be an exit sign. Just come in contact with it. You can jump over it, run right back to it. Just get super close to it and the game will pull you into it. You know, stop because that's the thing. Wily Coyote uses different weapons to chase you down. Like 2 levels, 1 weapon, next 2 levels, a different thing. He's always trying something new. It's a good game. Play it, speed run it, have fun with it. That's my challenge. It rocks. That's my community challenge. Boom, that's enough of that shit. Let's move on to my visit at A&C Games.
Okay, what is going on, everybody? I'm on Spadina in Toronto, and I've called ahead because I'm going to A&C Games. They've assured me that they're going to roll out the red carpet for me. Because, you know, I'm pretty amazed and kind of proud of myself. As humongous as Toronto is, with its booming, humongous population and all the surrounding cities that cluster all, you know, that congest within it, like Etobicoke and Vaughan and Richmond Hill and Brampton and Mississauga and Scarborough, all that population, all those people. There isn't a better retro gamer to be found. So they're very excited to be having me today. So we're going to be checking out the store. We're going to be checking out the store a little bit and seeing what they have to offer. And who knows, maybe I'll find myself an N64 game, since I've recently started collecting for N64. Of course, that will be a small collection because, you know, all killer, no filler. I don't need unnecessary games that I don't plan on playing. But anyways, with all that being said, let's go check out A&C Games. Look at all that juicy Genesis stuff right there. Oh, Shaq Fu. Do you know, I actually need a copy of Shaq Fu. I don't know if I need Shaq Fu CIB. Was that Hardball by Accolade? And of course, Green Dog, the beach surfer dude. You cannot go wrong. Oh, we got all kinds of Super Nintendo here. All kinds of good stuff. I like those NES games in those nice little plastic dust sleeves. Very good stuff. Oh, even some old Atari down here. Ooh, Jungle Hunt. I've done a no death of Jungle Hunt. Actually, I want to check that out. That's pretty sweet. That is pretty awesome right there. That kind of makes me wish I had an Atari. Very cool. Okay, so here's two particular games I couldn't help but pull out and talk about. Great football. It's not exactly great, but I actually really do quite like it. It's a very bizarre game. You don't play any defense, but it's still actually quite fun. And well, Dragon's Lair, this is epic. I had this as a kid. I don't have this actual copy anymore, but I have a ton of nostalgia for Dragon's Lair, and you know, just how do you not love Don Bluth's artwork? It's just absolutely incredible. I used to just love looking at this box art as a kid because, yeah, I got pretty good at Dragon's Lair as a kid, to be honest, and I did end up beating it, but it took me quite a while to kind of memorize it and more than anything develop the patience for it. But yeah, great football. If you have a Master System, be sure to pick it up, but it's not exactly great, but it is fun. It should be called fun football without defense. Okay, I've come across some N64 stuff. Also a whole bunch of Electronic Arts Genesis games and more Atari down there. Actually, I see more Genesis up there too I'll have to check out, but nonetheless, Toy Story 2. This game's awesome. Now, I had it for the Dreamcast. I recently beat it on PS1 just about a year ago. This game's excellent. I might be picking this one up. This is a really sweet game, so I'm going to have a little more thorough look here at the N64 games because I'm in the market. Okay, that's pretty killer. Oh, the Sonic one's pretty awesome as well. The Guitar Heroes were so cringe, but still a lot of fun, right? Ew, Xbox. Okay, this is actually awesome because, like, you know, with the quality of N64 controllers and how easily they could get messed up, especially that analog stick, to get some essentially brand new N64 controllers, that's absolutely awesome. Likewise with some GameCube, some NES. That looks like a nice little controller. I'd have no issue using that myself on the Genesis. Very awesome stuff. Oh, look, we got some Battletoads going on up there. Anyone knows me knows that I absolutely love PS1, and I fucking love Sled Storm. This game's awesome. Wicked soundtrack too. That's a pretty sweet Master System. Just figured I'd do one last lap of the store here before I pick up my game. That's pretty sweet. Okay, so unfortunately I didn't find as much as I was hoping to find, but I did get to enjoy the store and have a good little look around. I tell you, it is a little bit awkward filming and not coming off like a pretentious deuce making a video, but hey, that's a part of the making video process. But anyways, I picked up Toy Story 2 for the N64. Love this game, and I'm gonna have fun replaying this one again. Anyways, let's get back to the game room.
Okay, so we're back in the game room, and I recently picked up an N64, like super recently, like maybe a month ago. And one of those games was Mario 64, Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, Cruisin' USA. My girlfriend picked up Mario Kart 64 to add to the collection. No N64 collection is complete without James Bond's GoldenEye, correct? And I also picked up Top Gear Rally. And a rather pricey one. And Mario Party 3. And as I mentioned, at A&C Games, I picked up Toy Story 2. Only one PS4 game, but I had to have physically the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, as I have the 3 original games on the PS3. I just wanted to have it on PS4 so I could potentially stream it, possibly very soon. Absolutely love and adore these games. As I mentioned, I'm probably going to be streaming Astrobot sometime soon, and I picked up a physical copy of Astrobot because there would be no other way. I can't have a digital with that. Likewise, I didn't want a digital copy of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Had to have that physical as well, so another cool recent pickup. Probably the coolest pickup of all, Metal Slug Anthology for PS2. It's a pretty dope pickup. Not quite so cool, but I'll still play and have fun with Lego 2 Indiana Jones, as I just love anything Indiana Jones. One Genesis game, The Adventures of Batman and Robin. Must have for the Genesis, I think. Not amazing, but it's pretty good for sure. And last but not least, probably the coolest pickup of all, Heart of Darkness there for the PS1. Awesome game. You should play it. You should buy it. You should own it. You should put it in your PS1 collection. Thought-provoking, awesome game made by the creator of Out of This World. Those are my recent pickups.
Okay, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that little trip of A&C Games in Toronto, and I did forget one pickup. It's sitting right there. Amongst all the N64 games that I recently picked up, because I recently picked up my first N64, Wave Race 64 was one of those, and the reason I forgot about it is because it was plugged into my system. Well, Peter from Waves and Games recently did a community challenge where he issued a challenge in Wave Race 64. It would be my first time really playing the game and tackling it outside of playing a few minutes when I was a kid when my buddy rented it. We would then continue to play a ton more GoldenEye. He played a bunch of Wave Race and said it was great, but I was like, fire up GoldenEye. Well, I'm glad I finally got to try this game. It was really good. It was, and a good example of less is more. So literally, shout out to Peter from Waves and Games for the simplistic choice of a racing game, just a single game. It didn't take much time out of my schedule to play and participate in, but I found myself, it's a racing game. I love racing games. So when it comes to, one more lap, one more try, to try to get a personal best, to get a new fastest lap, a new fastest overall time, I did get pulled in. I had a lot of fun with this, and I just have to say, man, awesome choice. So Waves Race 64 and Waves and Games recent community challenge, cheers to that. That wine is good. It's good. But let's talk about our buddy Omega Ace Gaming. About 6 months ago, Omega Ace Gaming did something that I was really excited to see. A very unique choice. A very difficult game. Difficult in its platforming, difficult in learning it, difficult in learning the powers and how to use them in the correct places. There's a lot involved in taking on Chacon, the Forever Man. Omega Ace Gaming did not shy away from the challenge. I really enjoyed watching him play this game because it is an original, unique choice and the kind of game that we all just sort of put on the back burner. For any of us who might have an interest in that game, we're like, oh, I'll play that one. I want to play that one, and I will at some point. But that some point sometimes just doesn't happen. You can think of many games yourself that you have backlogged that you haven't still gotten around to. Myself personally, outside of one really good attempt about 10 years ago at Chacon, I never did complete it. And I was like, I'll get back to it. It's been almost 10 years. Ace tackled this. We talked about this game years ago. I really enjoyed watching him play it. I know it was a big victory for him as well because he also beat Chacon on Genesis and Game Gear and got best ending in both. He also got to meet the producer of Chacon the Forever Man and Echo the Dolphin, which everyone knows I love. Everyone knows I love Echo, right? And that's just really cool. That's really cool that he got to stream these games, has them both CIB. He got to meet Ed and Easiata. And also the character, Chacon, is a very awesome looking character. Like he reminds me of Eddie from Iron Maiden, but with his own uniqueness. The double samurai swords or katanas, whatever you want to call them. The hat, the huge sort of cowboy / sombrero hat. His whole character is just very cool. He's very slender and very lean, he's very old and deathly looking, but he's a cool character. So I just really want to give a huge shout out to Ace for being original with a lot of his choices and stepping outside of the box and playing things that other people don't play. For me, when I see him do things like this, it makes it very unique to his channel. Now whenever I think of Chacon the Forever Man, much like Castlevania, I think of Omega Ace. you know. And though other people may take on that game, I'll always remember the guy who played it first for some degree within our community, because I feel like that's always a very special thing. Whether you play a hidden gem, and it is a hidden gem. And by the way, Ace, I just have to say, you're missing out on the real hidden gem. When you take a look at that picture of you and Edenisiata, he's wearing a shirt with a certain game on it, and that game is superior to Chacon. Echo the Dolphin, and I do hope to see you play that one day. Hey, if you don't have an interest, that's cool, but I'm telling you, if you like Chacon, you're probably going to really like Echo, because I do believe it is more playable, better controls, making it a better experience. Though Chacon's awesome. It's tough as nails, and you do need the jump trick. The jump trick is something speedrunners use, it's something Ace use. That's no shame, no shade at anybody who uses it, because the game itself without it is an even 25-35% harder. You can use the double jump mechanic to kind of keep double jumping. It's not a glitch, it's a trick. It's a skill-based move that you can learn. I've done it, I haven't mastered it, and if I do beat the game, I plan on using it, because it kind of became one of those common knowledge tricks to help you get through this otherwise extremely difficult game. So Ace, huge shout out to you for beating Chacon the Forever Man on both Game Gear and Sega Genesis. Very cool stuff. You might be thinking, why all the drinking? Why all the smoking? Well, it's the weekend, and it's celebration. It's Your World Gaming News. Supposed to be having a good time here, so cheers to that. And some other things I want to talk about. 2 other people within the community that did something that actually caught my attention. At first, I wasn't like, it was the cherry on top that kind of really made me want to talk about it. Megadan29 played a game that is a bad game, but a good game. You ever hear those good, bad games? Well, this is what I think of Simpsons versus the Space Mutants. And what Phil Twerpin played, which was Bart versus the world. Let me correct myself. Bart versus the Space Mutants, Megadan played and beat, which is honestly awesome. Props to you, Dan. Very cool game. With those early Simpsons games, even though they're essentially kind of more on the bad side, there's still a redeeming game there worth playing. And if you dig kind of deep and try hard, you will discover that there's a playable game there. I've gotten really far in Bart versus Radioactive Man, which is my personal favorite of the 3. And even though all those games still kind of feel like a bit of a chore to play and learn, it's still engaging enough because, one, you love the source material, The Simpsons. Its graphics are nice. The sound is super nostalgic. So I feel like there's a double hit of nostalgia with these Simpsons games. You get a double hit of nostalgia for NES and that early gaming, and you get that other hit of nostalgia from early Simpsons. And being that age, and I remember renting Bart versus the World and getting quite angry and quite annoyed with a lot of its levels and not getting very far. But nonetheless, I still enjoyed it, and I still enjoy them to this day. So props to Megadan for beating Bart versus the Space Mutants. Super cool game in its own regard. Again, it's flawed, but you know, just because something's flawed doesn't mean it's not good. You know, it's a cool game. And then when I saw that Phil Twerpin beat Bart versus the World, I was like, man, that's the cherry on the top of The Simpsons, which made me think. There are 2 Simpsons games I haven't seen anybody play or stream. I'm sure many of you have beaten at least one of them. The greatest Simpson game of all time. That is Simpsons Hit and Run for PS2, Xbox, or GameCube. I'm pretty sure it was on Xbox. Definitely on GameCube. Definitely on PS2. And definitely the best Simpsons game ever made. Now this one is super popular, super well known. Everybody knows about it. A lot of people have played. A lot of people have beaten it. And it gets the high praise. I haven't seen anybody stream and beat the whole game. I think that would be fun. I do love this game, and actually it can be done relatively quickly too, if you're good and pay attention. But something that goes a little more living in the shadow, if you will, or less known, less talked about, the Simpsons game for PS2, PS3, also pretty sure on Xbox, also possibly on Wii. This is a really cool game. Now, it's not as good as Simpsons Hit the Run. Let's have another drink to that. Simpsons Hit and Run. It's a cool game. It's a cool game. It's a good 2-player game. You can play this couch co-op as Bart or Homer and work your way through its levels. It can be a little tedious at times. It can be difficult at times. It can be a little self-explanatory at times. So it's not a perfect game as well. But overall, the story, the variety and the places you go and experience within the Simpsons world is it's a great tribute. It's a great tribute to an otherwise amazing franchise. Now, I'm not like a guru or a kingpin of The Simpsons. I can't recite every line that's happened in all the episodes over the years, and there's a lot of references that will fly over my head, but it doesn't go without saying that The Simpsons have left a huge impact on my life. Growing up, it was the GOAT of cartoons. Other shows would come along that I would fall in love with, like Ren and Stimpy, more importantly, Beavis and Butthead, way more importantly, South Park, and even Family Guy and American Dad to a smaller degree would still become cartoons and shows that I'd watch and enjoy. Rick and Morty, I would think would become something that would carry the torch. Kind of did, kind of didn't, and I love that show as well. But Simpsons it's Simpsons. It's the GOAT. Now, South Park might be my favorite cartoon of all time and favorite show of that nature, but there's still something special about Simpsons that it's the number one cartoon show of all time. I feel like it overstayed its welcome, and its seasons past season 12 or even past seasons 10 definitely were a decline in the show. So it didn't hold that longevity as well as, say, South Park. But South Park's more on the decline as well. But with that being said about Simpsons, man, shout out to Mega Dan, shout out to Phil Twerpen for beating some nostalgic, good bad games. Because they are bad, but they are good. And they are cool, more importantly, and they're Simpsons. And I just thought it was really cool and really worth mentioning, and a good opportunity to recommend the Simpsons game and Hit and Run. Like, no one streamed it that I know of. I'd watch that. I'd watch it, but I'd more importantly watch the Simpsons game for it being something fresh and original and something a lot of people haven't played and seen through that I know and interact with, and I'd love to see it. Next thing I kind of want to dive in and talk about is something a little bit more on the sad or disappointing side. Now, this actor that I'm about to mention that I'm sure you're all thinking of has been kind of ill for a very long time. So it's almost bittersweet in a way that at least he's been kind of put out of his pain, if you will. Val Kilmer, who wasn't a fan of Val Kilmer at some point in their life? In the massive wall of VHS behind me, I have enough movies by him to even warrant a Val Kilmer section. And in that section, where Tombstone's in the Kurt Russell section, I'll mention Tombstone, but in his section we got The Saint, which is a movie with him and Elizabeth Shue that I always really loved and really enjoyed, and is definitely, I think, a hidden gem in his filmography. Batman Forever, his probably most iconic role, probably his highest paid role. Personally, I would have preferred to see him in Batman and Robin than George Clooney, and I think everybody can agree to that, and that was a bit of a missed opportunity. As average and as bad as those films were, Val Kilmer and Batman and Robin would have been a lot better than George Clooney any day, and would have held some consistency to him already being Batman in Batman Forever. Though a bit of a bad movie, good movie, it has its share of redeeming qualities. I never really saw Val Kilmer as a bad Batman or a bad Bruce Wayne. The movies themselves were campy and corny, and for where they're bad, the two films, both Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, they're bad not because of the actors, they're bad because of the direction and the production and the direction and the decisions made into it being campy and corny over anything with any kind of substance. But by no means was Val Kilmer ever bad in that. He never was. I always liked him. Ghost in the Darkness with Michael Douglas, Val Kilmer, but of course, an underrated movie. Top Gun, very famous movie amongst his career. Willow, an underrated game and an NES game. The Island and Dr. Monroe and The Heat are the VHS movies I have from Val Kilmer. Anyways, all I gotta say is rest in peace to Val Kilmer. It was a shame to see him in the condition he was in, having a tracheotomy and I believe having, throat cancer, and his inability to really speak for several years, and the major decline in his health is kind of just a reminder of how life is never guaranteed, and that someone as famous and popular as Val Kilmer in his day, if you were to say to him back in 1995 that he'd only have 30 years left when he was only then 35 years of age, that would be very painful for anyone to be told that, at such a young age of 35 that you'd only have 30 left, and that's all Val Kilmer got. It's really quite surprising and kind of, that's what makes it so sad. But it also reminds you that not to take life for granted and enjoy the little moments that you can. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer, and thank you for all the wicked movies. And his mustache in Doc Holliday is even better than mine. And I thought about cleaning mine up and trimming it and making it a little bit more like his, because that was the perfect stash for sure. Mine will have to settle for second place. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer, and cheers to you. Okay, so in more light-hearted news, I want to talk about some quick recommendations. For one, right out the gates, my current game of the year. Each year I play as many new games as I kind of have the time to do. New to me games. These can be games older than time, you know, but if I've never beaten them, they're new to me. And each year I try to get at least 80 to 100. My goal is 130 plus this year. And so far the game of the year is Huntdown. Shout out to Baltimore Retro Gaming for streaming this game and showcasing this game and being the way I discovered this game. And I saw him play it and I was like, I gotta have that. It's obvious neo-punk, cyberpunk, 80s depiction of the future setting. Just screams awesome. Just awesome. It like pays homage to all those 80s films that have that 80s feel while attempting to depict like a future like chaotic world. It gives you that futuristic cyberpunk world and some, with tons of boss fights, a lot of good levels, and just overall really nice appealing pixel art graphics. This is so far probably my game of the year. If you haven't played it, play it. I saw that E.C. Myers vids and Megadan29 were two people that have played and beaten this game in the past recent years, so it was really cool to discover that, and I enjoyed watching that because I had a much greater appreciation knowing that I've now played this game, and I want to see how they did and how they enjoyed their experience. And so far for me, this is a game that I have to recommend to anybody who hasn't played it. It's honestly so fun and so good that it's so far away from being a Steve game, if you know what Steve games are, is so far away from being a Steve game that whatever you plan on playing, it's probably not as fun and as cool as Huntdown. It's a really wicked modern game of retro nature, so you should definitely play that. The next is a game that I don't think will appeal to many people. It's an indie title. I think those who are captivated or intrigued by more thought-provoking games might be more inclined to give Candle and the Power of Flame a bit of a chance. Now, I've mentioned this game several times in my streams and to some people that I speak to outside of YouTube. And the reason I'm continuing to mention it is because the game stuck with me so greatly. I beat this game last year, and it was nominated for Game of the Year for me, for new games. It didn't win, but it stuck with me because it had such a wonderful presence. Its presentation, you really get pulled into this world. You actually grow to like the character Taku. Its hand-drawn graphics are absolutely beautiful. Its color choice is perfect. The artist behind this work is just brilliant. And the game itself just drew me in. Now, it's a puzzle game, and you're kind of presented from one puzzle after another, well platforming, because it's still a platform game in itself. Minor platform, but platform as well. But with each puzzle you face, it's not redundant or repetitive. Each puzzle seems to have something unique and original about it, where you feel like you're literally tackling a different puzzle each time, so drastically different from the last. So the level of creativity and thought put into this deserves mention. And the more the fact that this game just stuck with me, it's its sound, its music, it's all very enthralling, and I just can't recommend this game enough. I think for those who actually want to kind of challenge themselves and see how they do with some of these puzzles, it's a really fun, engaging game, and I can't recommend it enough. I understand that it's probably not the kind of game that's going to appeal to the majority of people, but those who might have an interest in this genre or trying something new, I can't recommend it enough. Okay, welcome back. So one last thing I kind of wanted to mention was one, I am buzzed. Two, I kind of want to take the opportunity to give my thoughts about the Nintendo Switch 2, or as I'll be calling it, the Super Switch.
quick rant. Okay, first off, the Wii U was significantly more like the Switch than it was like the Wii. Okay, let's be real. So that was basically the first Switch. That's Switch 1. Then the actual Switch was more or less Switch 2. Then the OLED essentially is kind of more Switch 3. So this one is, their Switch 2 is more like Switch 4 in my opinion. Which is why I say just switch it all off and just call the fucking thing the Super Switch. Or the Nintendo 8, as it is Nintendo's 8th home console, even though both Wii U, the Switch, the OLED, and this are also handheld. But let's just go with Nintendo 8 or Super Switch. Switch 2. What a lazy... Like, at least PlayStation's been consistent. They've just always done that. Sony, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nintendo's changed them. That's fine. But when you... Like, Wii U, lazy. Switch 2, lazy. Super Switch. What are my thoughts? Do I want one? Absolutely. I've been wanting a Switch for the past 2 years, but because of how late into the Switch's life it is, I just thought, what's the point? I know what I get with Nintendo and what their product has to offer, and the reason I've been wanting a Switch is because as a PlayStation guy, or a Sega guy, I've grown to miss Nintendo's product. What Nintendo does well, they do great, and they do perfectly. And there's something a little more special and wicked about what they do when they do it right. And I've been missing that. And I've been craving to have something more modern. It's one of the reasons I went out and got an N64. Well, my girlfriend as well was the main reason for that too. But I was like, when she started talking, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And I've been having so much fun with my 64. Because there's a certain feeling you get when you play Nintendo games, or especially things of the Nintendo franchise. There's just a warm feeling and of enjoyment. Like, you can tell that there's a love put into these games, that they want people to have a good time. That's the best part about Nintendo, is that I do fully believe that they want people to enjoy themselves when it comes to gaming, while challenging themselves. And with the new Switch 2, Super Switch, I want one. But I honestly can't see myself paying more than $499 before tax. If it's like $500, okay. Realistically, I would rather pay $399 or $450. I think that's more of a realistic ballpark. Rumors that I've been hearing that the bloody thing's going to be like $650, maybe more. Even $599 is like $100 too much. It's like, you get that down to $499, maybe we're talking. But the thing is I'm no rush to get this. Though, shout out to 21 Sandwich for telling me about 24-player online. Yeah, the fear of missing out will be very real when I see people playing that. That's going to kind of lure me in. 24-player online Mario Kart. My girlfriend told me there's a Goomba. I can't imagine a Goomba's a good character, but it's about damn time a Goomba's been in the game. Is this the first time a Goomba's finally in the game? It's like the first thing you see in Mario 1, and it finally got behind the wheel. How? It has no arms. Makes no sense. Maybe that's why they didn't use a Goomba all this time, but hey, they got a Goomba. And I got a little bit of wine left, so I'm going to finish that. But yes, I do want to Switch 2. I'm in no rush to get it. I think the price needs to drop. I think it's a little bit absurd. Without getting overly technical about it and whatever, stats it has as far as measuring up. See, Nintendo's never supposed to measure up to a PS5 or an Xbox. They kind of always took the back seat when pushing towards what's capable for the best graphics and best ability. And they kind of just sort of bowed out of that competition and focused more on what they're making and the fun behind what they're making, the quality over the quantity of what they put out. And they relied heavily and had faith in their franchises to carry them, regardless of the power that their console would have versus the competition. So I don't care that the Switch 2 is not going to be as powerful as maybe it should be. For me, it needs to be a more of a reasonable price because, one, I'm an old man, and I'm not going to sit here holding it in my hands, getting a hunched over neck, sitting on a couch. I can't play like that. I've never been able to play like that. If you can, cool, I can't. It's just, that's not how I play with a screen a foot away from my face. I want to have my feet up, maybe lean back, maybe lean forward, look at my TV, and more importantly, hold a fucking controller. So what does this mean about a Switch 2? It means I got to get a Nintendo controller as well. Well, there's a good one for the original Switch.
You know, I've used that controller. It's good. If it's that one, that's fine. If they got a new one, great. If they can get rid of those stupid back buttons where my hands rest, even better. Those things are useless and unnecessary. Nonetheless, if I'm going to buy a Switch too, I also got to get a controller, which is like another $70. It's like, come on, how much am I dropping here? A bloody G-Note on a game, a console, and a controller? It's like, how about I don't? Switch and console for $1,000. Come on, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, it is. It's a bit ridiculous. Even the recent postings of what consoles cost in the day and adjusted inflation for like the Super Nintendo, the N64, even if you start counting the Genesis and PlayStation 1, PS2, you know, the GameCube, you look at what they costed then plus inflation versus what they're asking for the Switch 2 now, the price needs to come down, absolutely. Now, yeah, the PlayStation 5 obviously is going to be an expensive piece of merchandise. That's Sony. You are getting the top tier quality of graphics and, you know, current, you know, best hardware on a console. Switch 2 can't offer that. So it's like, it's kind of hard to see that thing being over $600. It's like, wow, you know, because it is. It's like, you know, there's no game with that. They don't give packing titles anymore. Anyways, those are my thoughts. This is Your World Gaming News. I want to thank you all for dropping by and watching. I want to thank you for possibly taking part. Again, if you don't take part in my challenge, cool beans. And if you do, cooler beans. Metal Slug 1. Speedrun it. Don't speedrun it. Do a no death run attempt. Play Metal Slug, get as far as you can without dying. Contra, Super C. God damn, I'm butchering this, but we're going to leave it. Super C for Nintendo. Speedrun Super C for Nintendo. Use the Contra code if you need to. You'll get penalized 2 minutes. And 3, Desert Speed Trap, starring Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Or Wild E. Coyote. For the Master System or Game Gear. I recommend it on the Master System. But Game Gear, same game, just cropped. Speedrun that on normal. Have fun with it. You take part, cool beans. You don't, cool beans. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer. Play Simpsons game on PS2. I'll watch. Ace, Chicon, good stuff. Weed, better stuff. I'll have to edit in music. So obviously these moves aren't as authentic as the start of the video where I actually got to hear it. And then, you know, because that music actually makes you move. See, I just have to pretend right now. This isn't quite as good. But this is Your World Gaming News. And the triumphant return of, you know, the notorious, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, Elfin Nerd Entertainment. Love me or hate me, I don't give a shit. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate your support. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new. And don't subscribe if you don't want to. But nonetheless, that's Your World Gaming News. Welcome back. Good to be back. Finish my drink. We're all done. That's all, folks.